First year, we were more serious shows about a family, you know, going into space, technology, and so forth. The movie's going back to that.
Conclusion. Environment hostile.
They're shooting the beginning as the same.
Give my regards to Oblivion.
Gary Oldman, who's playing Dr. Smith, hides on board.
It's a lot more serious. It's darker.
If they want to go campy, they would have had, you know, instead of him, they would have Richard Simmons playing Dr. Smith.
Oh, the pain.
39.
I'm Jonathan Harris from Lost in Space, and you are watching the Lost in Space Marathon here on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Sci-Fi Channel.
I understand it's very explosive, very exciting. Cart's in there, Mark Goddard's in there, Angela Cartwright, Marta Kristen.
I am going to appear in the new Lost in Space movie, and I am just thrilled about it.
I play a newspaper reporter who smells something going on.
I play the general, and they give me a very severe buzz crew cut, because I'm military.
I look very kooky. I look very bizarre.
I play the administrator of the school where young Will goes.
The writer, Akiva Goldsman, took the best of what I thought was in Lost in Space and put it into the script.
I always thought of as a very kind of serious space adventure.
But it was so totally different to what we were doing.
They both happened to be in the arena of outer space.
Our show had kind of this comedic turn with the introduction of Dr. Smith.
There are certainly a handful of episodes of both where you're dealing with the alien of the week, and there's similarities in terms of the crisis and the conflict. But stylistically speaking, they're just completely different.
9.
The new Jupiter 2 is not at all like the old Jupiter 2.
It was unbelievable to walk on the set and see the Jupiter 2. I mean, it was like, wow. It is mind-boggling. You can't imagine the size of this set.
They have taken over Shepperton Studios.
Everywhere you looked, there was Lost in Space.
I can't wait to see the movie.
Will?
No.
We had a wonderful man named Stu Moody for our explosions. Irwin Allen loved explosions and floods and earthquakes. He loved that.
Our special effects were nothing like they are today. We did them right there on the set.
Because if the explosion worked, even if you hadn't said the dialogue right, they printed it anyway. Marta and I were out in the hydroponic garden once and some big explosion happened, and we just went,
The challenge was to not get killed in the explosion.
Sometimes we would play the scene and the explosion would be so big that we would forget our lines.
You know, you had to put a lot of faith in your special effects man.
I trusted Stu Moody with my life. And when he rigged an effect which could not be shot twice because it cost a fortune and took days, I would always go to him and say, Moody, is this gonna hurt me? And he'd say, a lot. And I knew I was safe.
Over here! Over here!
Few really nice scenes with Guy in the series. A couple of teary moments together, a couple of father-son moments with a beautiful John Williams theme. You know, da-na-na-na-na. It was really nice. And the Antimatter Man. I just cherish them, and I wish we'd had more.
Sure we're lucky to find you.
Matt LeBlanc was a big fan of Lost in Space, so he certainly knew what I was doing as Don West. His character, I believe, Don West is going to be a much stronger character than I developed, more cockier, maybe just as angry, but I think he'll have more of a different kind of an appeal in the humor part of it. I think I had some softness to my character. He is going to develop a character that's going to have a lot more depth than I ever had as Don West.
Remember...
My agent got a call one day, and he said, Irwin is looking for a robot voice. So I go down there, I meet Irwin, and I said, I presume, Irwin, what you're looking for is a mechanical, robotian kind of sound.
William Shakespeare, 1564.
And Irwin says, my dear boy, that's exactly what I do not want. This is a advanced civilization. I want a highly cultured approach. I said, okay. And I'm saying, warning, warning, it does not compute. And Irwin's saying, no, no, that's not right. Do it again, try this. No, that's not right. Finally, he says, after about 5 minutes, listen, he says, we're not getting it. Thank you for coming in. You're still the narrator on the show.
Little did they dream that in less than 20 desperate hours,
I start to walk out, and now just, God knows why. I say, Irwin, let me try one more thing for you. And now in my best mechanical robotian voice, I say, danger, warning, it does not compute. And Irwin says, my God, what the hell took you so long?
AM Eastern.
Warning, warning, stay back.
Bob, probably, of everybody in the cast, had the toughest job physically of anybody. He was locked inside the robot, for good reason. They didn't want him to get out.
No.
The character just kind of evolved.
I had a button inside built into the claw, and with every syllable of every word that I spoke, that light would blink.
They gave me earphones. I had to sync with his lines.
Robot's work is never done.
We became a team, and that's the important thing.
The actress who plays Penny Robinson, Lacey Chabert, she was on Party of Five and done several movies and stuff.
I'll do one more for fun. Here we go.
She didn't ask me for any advice. I don't think I would have given her any. This is her part now, and she owns it, and she can do with it what she feels Penny, you know, is to her, which is what I brought to it when I did it. But you have to give that, that torch on.
I was a Zorro fanatic when I was a little boy. So working with Guy was wonderful for me.
Oh, what a sweet man. Guy Williams was a sweetie. He was well-educated, he was bright.
Working with Guy Williams, I found him a very, very intelligent, very bright man.
He had this kind of persona of being a strong, stoic person.
Oh, Daddy, I was so frightened.
It's all right. There's nothing to be frightened of.
I remember Guy as having just this lovely gentility about him that you don't find very often in people.
He was like Errol Flynn. He had that smile behind everything he said. He had that understanding. He had the compassion. He was a dedicated man. He was a good father. You know, he was.
The costumes themselves, although very attractive, were velour, and they were hot.
Hot lights, and you're wearing this hot suit.
I just remember them being hot and uncomfortable.
Couldn't keep them on under the lights.
We used to wear leotards underneath. They were extremely hot.
In both cases, we wore those for the first 2 years, and then the third year, we all got new clothes, which I was supposed to have made, of course, in some machine. Push the button and out it comes.
The movie's going to be different from the TV series in that people remember the series as more of a campy show.
It looked different to me than our Lost in Space, which is very kind of campy feeling. It's kind of Leave It to Beaver and, you know, in space.
How are you ever going to dress like a lady if you don't hold still?
I'm hoping they keep some of the quirkiness that was in the original script.
There was a message there. It was a good message about family values and stuff like that.
That was part of the charm of the original series.
iChannel.
Well, this is a pretty authentic looking first season Lost in Space laser gun.
If you're really going, you'd better take a gun with you.
Don, break out the big guns. We're going in after them.
I never got to hold a gun. I did have that hydroponic garden with the plastic plants in. That was a pretty interesting prop.
The robot was a fabulous prop. The chariot was a functioning prop. The jetpack that we used in the pilot was real. The design of the ship, you know, it's a classic flying saucer type thing.
I used to come in and sit down, get ready for the scene if we were taking off or landing, and I just look at the board there and I just just hit all those buttons. you up in the air.
One of the props that I really loved in the show was when we'd all sit down for dinner, and I'd push the buttons and it would all come out on a conveyor belt. I thought that was pretty neat.